welcome back to another video. So today I'm doing a book video. I'm gonna do a what I read in February. I've read a fair few books and I love watching book videos. I watch Jack Edwards, Ava Jules does some book videos, Steph Bower. I've got a few Nina Florence videos that I've watched. I really like a book video. I think they're great, like when you're in a bit of reading slump, you want some new books. It's just good to know what ones are good, what ones are bad. So this month I read a few really good books and a few that I wouldn't recommend. So it's going to be a bit of a mix. But yeah, I hope you enjoy. I also this year got Goodreads, which I highly recommend. So my Goodreads is just my name and there's loads of people and you see what other people have rated books. And I'm also doing the reading challenge, so I'm doing 22 books in 2022, which has really motivated me to read. I think I'm at like 15 out of 22 already and it's only, I think it's the 6th of March today. I'm not very good with dates, but yeah, I feel like I'm cracking on, so I definitely recommend that. But let's get into the video. The first book I read this month was Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. Sorry if I butchered that name. Here you go. I think I'll also link all these in description where I bought them from. I'll maybe try to find a new one off of, I always get my books from Waterstones or Amazon, or a second-hand one because there's some really good, like good condition books from the likes of eBay. I got this from a charity shop actually. It was $3.49 from Oxfam. So you can definitely get some steals, and this is such an amazing book. Straight off the bat, 5 stars. Just so you know, read this. It's really good. This has been translated from Japanese. So I was a bit like, is this going to be like a completely different writing style to what I'm used to? But it was amazing. So it's 4 short stories, but all the short stories are based on a similar concept, so it links really well. So the concept is that there is this urban myth that in a cafe you can time travel, which seems like a crazy concept, and I don't really like fantasy books, but it's realistic in the way that all the characters, I don't know, I feel like they're just as skeptical as the average person would be, and I feel like that makes it so much more realistic, that it's not just some crazy weird story. It's really good, and I like that between different short stories the same characters appear, so somebody could be a main character in one short story but they're a sub character in another one, they just pop up, and I really like that. Before the Coffee Gets Cold is you can time travel but you need to come back before your coffee gets cold, which again is really interesting. There's a timeline. It's really good. I don't want to spoil too much, but I would definitely give this a read, unlike anything I've read before. And I like this split into 4 short stories. It's a really thin book, it's really short, so it's an easy read, but I read them all in one sitting, and I think that's good that I wanted to keep on reading. It's an excellent one. I definitely read it. The next book I read was The Good Girl Complex by Elle Kennedy, and this is completely different. This is like a classic romance. It's not that good. I'm sorry. I thought it was really predictable and very like forgettable. I was thinking about all the books I'd read this month, like almost reviewing them before I made this video. I couldn't for the life of me remember what this was about, which I don't think is good. I had to read the blurb to remind myself, whereas I don't know, it should be sort of, you want it to have like a long lasting impact, and this just didn't. I'd give this maybe 3 stars. I read this in one sitting. It was a really quick read. I'd say it was enjoyable to read. Like I wasn't sitting there like, oh my god, this is so bad. It was just really predictable and forgettable. It just wasn't that good. So the blurb is Mackenzie Macabo is a people pleaser. It's exhausting, really, always following the rules. So she's like the classic like good girl. Mac has dreams of her own, but to please her parents, she moves to the beachside town of Avalon Bay to get her college degree. 20-year-old Mac has had plenty of practice suppressing her wilder impulses, but when she meets local bad boy Cooper Hartley, the ability is suddenly tested. So it's basically like good girl, bad boy, they meet, she changes. Like it's just so predictable. Like they fall in love. Like it's nothing, I don't know, it felt like nothing different. I feel really bad, sorry Elle Kennedy. Said she's a New York Times best-selling author, but I don't really rate her. On a happier note, I read The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. This was incredible. I've read some books this month that are just completely different to what I usually read. This is another fiction, but it really made me think. It's really an interesting concept. So it's basically based on Nora, who she's living a life that she's finding unfulfilling, so she commits suicide and then she enters the Midnight Library. So the Midnight Library is the place she goes after death that is full of books, and each book is a life that she could have lived if she made a different decision. So this book has a lot about regrets, and I don't know, it really made me think about, I don't know, the decisions in my life. I feel like it's a very reflective book, and it's fiction, but it has, I don't know, the same power to make you think that a non-fiction book would have. It was incredible, and I'd say read it for the ending, because the ending is what, I don't know, it summed it up perfectly. And I think if you really analyze the ending, I don't know, I feel like you'll finish it feeling a lot more happy in your own life, maybe be a bit more present. I don't know, this book made me feel quite grateful. I really liked it. And again, it's a crazy concept. Like, I don't know if a midnight library exists, but I think that's what, it's fiction, but it seems realistic because afterlife is a subject that we know very little about. So it almost could be realistic. We don't know. Like, I hope this does exist. This seems incredible. And she visits all the different lives that she could have lived. I won't say what happens in them, but yeah, it's a really cool concept, a really good book, and it left a lasting impact on me, which I feel like that's how I judge a book. So I'm gonna give this another 5 stars. It was great. So then I read something completely different. This was Fake Law by The Secret Barrister. It was incredible. So this is the second book that I've read by The Secret Barrister, and I think they only have 2 books. So this is an anonymous author, and I believe they are a real legal professional, which is really exciting. So we're really getting a proper insight. And this is Fake Law, The Truth About Justice in an Age of Lies. So each chapter kind of takes a different myth about the legal system and actually tells the truth. So there's a lot of facts in here. It's very informative. I'd say every sentence has a purpose. There's substance in everything written. It speaks from, I don't know, the public's general view on saying that we spend too much on the prison system, to speaking about immigrant getting access to the justice system. Tells you the truth about that, because I think the media can portray issues in a certain way that they're maybe not actually as they seem, because we don't know everything. Like, I'm not a legal professional, I don't know everything about the law, but the Secret Barrister, they know. So I would definitely give this a read if you're interested in law. I think it's really interesting. A lot of it does apply to Scotland as well. And I'm sure if you're international, I don't know why someone international will be watching me, to be fair, but if you are, I'm sure it's interesting too. I'm not sure how exciting it would be if you weren't that interested in law, but I guess it's the sort of thing that everybody's, it's like general knowledge. It would be good to know. I'd give this a read. It's really good. Especially non-fictions can be quite boring, but I found that quite interesting. So I'd give that maybe like a 4.5 stars. I wouldn't give a 5 just because it took me a while to read and I had to keep stopping reading. Like, I wasn't really that gripped, like, oh my god, I can't wait to read this all. But it was definitely good, so I'd give it a good 4.5. Okay, and then I read The Hating Game. So this is a very hyped up book. I don't know if I had really high expectations because I've heard so many people speaking about it and saying how incredible it is. It's been turned into a movie with Lucy Hale. I was expecting big things and I didn't get them. I didn't really like this. I just found it really predictable. I feel like there could have been opportunities that were missed. So this was basically these 2 people work together, they're fighting for a promotion, they don't particularly like each other. She's the nice one, everyone in the work likes her. He's the mean one. Again, kind of like nice girl, mean boy. predictable. It was boring. I don't want to be mean, but yeah, I just didn't really rate this that much. They ended up falling in love, which I was hoping for some big plot twist that one of them was faking it just to get the job or like to throw them off their game. I was hoping for something, but it was all not really like that. It was quite nicey nice. They end up falling in love. I don't want to give any spoilers about what actually goes down because there is a few like minor plot twists, but yeah, I just didn't think this was that good. Yeah, I don't really rate it, to be fair. But then I did read My Sister the Serial Killer by, this is another name that I really hope I don't mispronounce. I might just show you it. This was really good. This was a really cool concept. When I read this, I was like, surely your sister's not a serial killer. You would need to read to find out. But I think what I liked most about this was that all of the characters had unlovable traits. Like there was stuff about all of them. Like I didn't like a single character. I wouldn't want to be friends with a single character. But there was this main character, Creed, the sister, Ayula, and then there's like love interests, and all of them had flaws. All of them. Every single one of them. The mum had flaws, or like even like the doctor that everybody loved, flawed. There was issues with all of them. And I think that's what made it so realistic. Like this is fiction, this isn't real. I'm sure there is people that have serial killers as sisters, but this was just like a story. But it was really good. And the ending wasn't predictable. I was predicting the stereotypical ending that I don't want to say because then you'll know that that's not the ending. It wasn't that. And I felt like the ending really like hit home in a subtle way. Not hit home, but like it had a message. It kind of summed up this book really well. I really liked this. So basically Creed is a nurse in a hospital. She has a little crush on one of the doctors, her sister Ayula, this sister, the serial killer, kind of takes center stage in everything. And she comes into her work one day, gets all the attention, and yeah, it's really interesting. I definitely give this a read. I read this really quick. I really enjoyed it. I want to say I'd give this like a 4.5. I really liked it. So yeah, I have read some quite good books this month. I'd say the main ones I'd recommend are probably Midnight Library, Before the Coffee Gets Cold, My Sister the Serial Killer, and then non-fiction I'd go for Fake Locks. That's the only non-fiction I've read this month. I liked filming this and I really like reading, so let me know if you do like the book videos and I can film more. It's a good excuse for me to buy more books. But yeah, I'd say if I was going to recommend you one book out of this whole video, it would be The Midnight Library. I'd say that's the one that really stuck with me, and I don't know, it's kind of reassuring. I'd say if you're going through a difficult time, or even if you're having a great life, it'll just make you feel a wee bit better about your life, I think. I hope. But yeah, I definitely give that a read. It's really good. And it was an easy read. But yeah, I think that's me. So thank you so much for watching if you have, and I'll see you next Sunday.